A man sits in a golden room. He has conquered every challenge. He has every resource. He has every luxury. Yet he is shivering with fear. His life is a monument to success, but he is decaying within the walls of his own comfort. He owns everything, but his own mind is crumbling. Why does the achievement of our greatest desires often lead to the most profound state of fragility? What are we losing when we gain everything we want? Welcome to Shadow Philosophy. I am your narrator, James. Throughout history, many thinkers have warned of the silent rot hidden within extreme prosperity. Roman philosopher Seneca observed this truth centuries ago, and his warnings remain hauntingly relevant today. We are exploring why the path to absolute abundance frequently becomes a slow descent into internal helplessness. Let us examine the patterns that repeat throughout history and understand the cost of our modern comforts. The fragility hidden within comfort. The nature of wealth is often misunderstood. We assume that prosperity makes us stronger, safer, and better able to navigate life's uncertainties. Yet many philosophers argued that excessive comfort produces the opposite effect. When convenience becomes the foundation of our lives, we gradually lose the ability to endure hardship. The more protected we become from difficulty, the less prepared we are when difficulty inevitably arrives. Seneca recognized this paradox among the Roman elite. Surrounded by luxury, servants, and privilege, many became deeply fearful of losing what they possessed. Their wealth did not free them from anxiety, it intensified it. Their identities became intertwined with status and comfort. The same pattern exists today. Modern society provides comforts that ancient kings could scarcely imagine, yet rates of stress, distraction, and dissatisfaction continue to rise. We have mastered convenience at the expense of resilience. The danger is not immediate. It is a slow erosion of character that leaves us dependent on circumstances rather than strengthened by them. The trap of status and external validation. One of humanity's oldest desires is the pursuit of recognition. We want to be admired, respected, and remembered. Yet the pursuit of status often becomes a prison disguised as success. The more we build our identity around achievements, possessions, and social approval, the more vulnerable we become to losing them. The fear of irrelevance drives countless decisions. People spend years constructing an image of success that must constantly be maintained. There is always a larger house, a higher title, greater achievement, or someone receiving more attention. The race never ends. Social media has accelerated this phenomenon by transforming life into a public performance. Every moment becomes content, every achievement becomes a display, and every interaction becomes an opportunity for validation. Despite thousands of digital connections, many people feel increasingly isolated. They are admired for an image rather than known for who they truly are. The pursuit of status promises significance but often creates dependency. We become servants of public opinion, sacrificing inner peace for temporary approval. Simplicity, discomfort, and the recovery of strength. Seneca proposed a radical solution to this growing fragility: voluntary simplicity. He believed that occasionally living with less could help people rediscover their own strength. By willingly embracing discomfort, we prove to ourselves that our well-being is not dependent upon luxury. This philosophy stands in direct opposition to modern culture. Society often teaches that the purpose of life is to eliminate all struggle. Discomfort is treated as a problem to be solved rather than a challenge to be overcome. Yet every meaningful form of growth requires resistance. Physical strength requires strain. Mental resilience requires adversity. Wisdom often emerges through hardship. When we deliberately expose ourselves to manageable challenges, we develop confidence in our ability to endure. We learn that we can survive uncertainty, scarcity, and inconvenience. This realization weakens the hold that fear has over us. Wealth becomes a useful tool rather than a psychological necessity. We stop relying on comfort for security and begin relying on our own character. The loss of self in the age of appearance. Modern life has created unprecedented opportunities to shape how others perceive us. We construct digital identities, carefully curate our public image, and present selected versions of ourselves to the world. While this may create the appearance of success, It often creates distance between who we are and who we pretend to be. Advertisers, corporations, and social platforms benefit from this insecurity. They encourage us to believe that fulfillment can be purchased, displayed, and measured. They thrive on comparison, convincing us that we are incomplete until we acquire something more. As a result, many people spend their lives chasing goals they never consciously chose. This creates a deeper spiritual problem. We become disconnected from our authentic values. We begin seeking approval for a version of ourselves that is largely constructed for an audience. Seneca would have viewed this as a form of self-alienation. A meaningful life requires honesty. It requires the courage to examine our motives and ask difficult questions. Are our goals truly ours? Are we pursuing purpose, or are we pursuing applause? Authenticity demands that we align our actions with our values rather than with others' expectations. The path to inner stability and true power. The ultimate lesson is not that wealth is evil or that success should be avoided. Wealth itself is neutral. The danger arises when we mistake wealth for security and status for self-worth. History repeatedly demonstrates that prosperity often contains the seeds of decline. Individuals, families, and civilizations frequently become weakest at the height of their success because comfort replaces discipline and abundance replaces purpose. The true source of strength has never been external. It has always been internal. Character, discipline, self-awareness, and resilience provide a form of security that no economic downturn, social rejection, or personal setback can take away. This is why Seneca emphasized cultivating the inner life rather than accumulating external possessions. To walk this path requires courage. It requires resisting the pressures of a culture obsessed with comfort, appearance, and endless consumption. It requires choosing growth over convenience and truth over validation. We must remain vigilant against complacency, continue challenging ourselves, and refuse to let success lead to our decline. When we finally understand that our value is determined by who we are rather than by what we possess, something changes. We become less dependent on circumstances and less vulnerable to loss. We stop chasing security in the external world and begin building it within ourselves. Like a rock standing firm against crashing waves, we remain steady, not because life is easy, but because our strength is rooted in something that cannot be taken away. The man in the golden room remains, but he finally understands that wealth never promised security. It merely built a fragile shell around his fears. Seneca recognized that true strength comes from within, and we discover that prosperity becomes a weakness when we stop mastering our desires and allow them to master us. You are now ready to confront the truth about what you may be sacrificing for the life you believe you want. I am James, and this is Shadow Philosophy. If this exploration gave you something to reflect on, subscribe to the channel and join us for more journeys into philosophy, power, and the hidden forces that shape the human condition.